have no reason to be here. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. Get up. Get the fuck out of there. All right, I'm sorry.
7. 1995. 20 crazy facts you didn't know. Rain that never stops, a city choking on fear, and a killer who turns the 7 deadly sins into gruesome art. 2 detectives are dragged deeper and deeper into a nightmare with every body they find. That's David Fincher's Seven, the film that redefined the crime thriller by fusing noir, horror, and bleak philosophy into a nightmare that still haunts audiences even decades later. Today, we're opening the case file on 20 behind-the-scenes facts that are just as disturbing, unexpected, and unforgettable as the movie itself.
This was found behind the same refrigerator, written in Greece. There are 7 deadly sins, Captain.
1. Brad Pitt wasn't convinced. Can you imagine any other face for Detective Mills other than Brad Pitt? Well, neither can we. But our nightmare almost came true when Pitt read 7 pages of the script and thought it was too cliché. An old detective about to retire and a young hotshot comes in with the most adventurous case of his career. Of course, he's over that typical narrative thanks to his manager, who begged him to finish the script that changed Pitt's mind. No wonder he was hooked. It didn't take much time for him to agree and save us from a Detective Mills played by Sylvester Stallone. 2. A near miss with Apollo 13. Brad Pitt had to make a tough call in 1995 when he had to choose between Apollo 13 or 7. He chose Fincher's bleak thriller over Ron Howard's space drama, leaving Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon to fly to the moon. Looking back, Pitt said it was one of the smartest career decisions he ever made. 3. A real injury turned into a prop. Remember the suspenseful foot chase scene? Pitt's hand was shredded in real life, and the blood became part of both his body and the story. Instead of halting production, David Fincher embraced the accident, writing Pitt's injury into the story. That's why Detective Mills spends much of the film with his hand in a cast. What could have been a production nightmare ended up making the gritty realism even more believable.
There are 2,000 notebooks on these shelves, and each notebook contains about 250 pages.
Get it? Anything about the killings?
4. Love on set. While filming Seven, Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow's on-screen chemistry spilled into real life. Pitt actually pushed for Paltrow to be cast as Tracy, believing she'd bring vulnerability and authenticity to the role. Their romance blossomed off-screen, quickly making them Hollywood's golden couple. They were even engaged by the mid-1990s, before calling it quits in 1997. Luckily for everyone, the only thing that escaped the screen was the romance between the leads, because imagine if it had been the murders instead. 5. Casting carousel. The role of Somerset was originally offered to Gene Hackman, Al Pacino, and even Harrison Ford before Morgan Freeman sealed the deal. For Detective Mills, Denzel Washington said no because the script was too dark, but he later admitted regretting it. Imagine Seven starring Pacino and Washington, which also means half the budget would have been blown on shouting matches. And if twists like that happen before the cameras even rolled, subscribe to uncover all other secrets Hollywood is hiding. 6. Kevin Spacey's secret credit. Have you heard of a star who does not want to be publicly credited for his work? That was Kevin Spacey, because he thought revealing his involvement beforehand would spoil the surprise. Fincher agreed, and that's why Spacey's name only appears in the closing credits, making it one of the earliest examples of a deliberate credit twist. Why was he so important to the director? That's coming up next.
By telling you this, though, I'm trusting you more than I trust most people.
Good, because I'm about ready to punch you.
7. Spacey's large check. Kevin Spacey was the clear favorite for John Doe, but New Line executives worried his fee was too high for such limited screen time. Brad Pitt and David Fincher went to bat for him, insisting he was worth every penny. They were proved right in no time when Spacey's chilling performance became iconic. Ironically, he ended up earning more per minute of screen time than anyone else in the cast. Creepy, yet costly.
A drug-dealing pederast, actually. And let's not forget the disease-spreading whore.
8. The grossest research ever. Special effects genius Rob Bottin went to disturbing lengths for realism. To design the autopsy scenes, he actually attended real autopsies, observing every gruesome detail of the process. While most of that footage never made the final cut, his first-hand research gave the movie's crime scenes a sickening authenticity that I'm sure made you squirm in your seats. 9. The victim's transformation. Michael Reed McKay played Victor, the unforgettable sloth victim. He weighed just 83 pounds when filming. To make him look even creepier, the crew fitted him with oversized false teeth, making his skull appear shrunken. And that's how they aced the perfect sloth victim. Not through dedication, but through a lot of missed lunches. 10. Real reactions. Spoiler. Another hidden fact about the famous sloth scene is that the actors were also equally surprised as the viewers. Remember when the victim was presumed dead but ended up coughing and shocking the co-actors? Fincher deliberately didn't tell the actors or paramedics that Michael Reed McKay would move, and their horrified reactions were completely genuine. The moment is so realistic that audiences in the test screenings screamed. And that's the brilliance of Fincher, who turned an already disturbing scene into one of the most memorable jump scares of the 90s. 11. Who nearly passed out? Actor Leland Orser, who played the man forced into the lust crime, actually deprived himself of sleep for 2 days and guzzled coffee so he'd look terrified. Fincher made him do 40 takes of the interrogation. By the end, Orser literally collapsed. That's commitment or just poor working conditions.
And I did. I fucked her. Oh God, oh God, oh God, he had a gun in my mouth.
12. The F-bomb record. If you thought Se7en sounded like a masterclass in profanity, you're right. The word and its variations are used 74 times throughout the movie, with Brad Pitt responsible for most of them. Detective Mills practically weaponizes swearing as part of his personality, a sharp contrast to Somerset's calm, deliberate tone. This verbal tick wasn't just for shock value, but highlighted the raw impulsiveness of Pitt's character compared to Freeman's restraint. 13. The box they tried to close. The movie's shocking ending wasn't just a gamble. It nearly never happened. Studio executives initially rejected the infamous box finale, fearing it was too dark for audiences. But Brad Pitt, being the risk-taker that he is, fought hard to keep it. He insisted that the entire film's weight depended on it. Without his persistence, do you think the ending would have had the same impact? 14. Hidden in plain sight. Spoiler. John Doe's first appearance isn't during his dramatic reveal, but at the 54:45 mark, when he was disguised as a photographer snapping pictures of Mills and Somerset. Yup, Kevin Spacey was literally hiding in plain sight the whole time. Be honest, did you catch him amongst all the chaos? Hit the subscribe button so I can keep revealing all the twists hidden in plain sight.
Get out of here! Get out! Hey! Get out! I got a fucking right to be here. Get out! Fucking jerk!
15. The endings that were scrapped. The original script had Somerset killing John Doe, not Mills. And another draft had hospital scenes with Mills sending Somerset a regretful letter accepting that he was right about everything all along. The alternate endings were discarded because the audiences hated how flat it felt for such a happening film. So, Fincher took the leap and went with the chilling box ending that left us all speechless. 16. The apartment number. Even small details in Se7en are layered with meaning, like the fact that Mills lived in 5A. A meaningless detail? Not quite. The fifth sin is wrath, and that is the very force that destroys him in the finale. It's as if Fincher tattooed Mills's fate onto his front door. It's a subtle Easter egg Fincher baked into the film, foreshadowing his tragic downfall. Blink and you'll miss it, but it's a clever detail proving nothing in this film was accidental. 17. Behind the gun to the head scene. Spoiler alert. One of the most intense moments comes when Mills pushes his gun to John Doe's forehead. But here's the kicker. That wasn't in the script. Brad Pitt improvised the move in a burst of anger, leaving Kevin Spacey visibly startled. Since Fincher is notorious for demanding dozens of takes, Spacey had to relive that moment over and over. Sometimes improvisation added more terror than the script ever intended.
trying to tell you how much I admire you and your pretty wife.
18. Why Freeman said no. Morgan Freeman was initially hesitant to join Se7en, finding the script overwhelmingly bleak. But after seeing the vision David Fincher had for the film, he reconsidered and later admitted it became one of the defining roles of his career. Freeman has said that turning down the part would have been one of his greatest regrets as an actor. 19. 14 hours of makeup. Transforming Michael Reed McKay into the skeletal sloth victim wasn't just unsettling, it was grueling. Makeup artists needed more than 14 hours to create the horrifying look, layering prosthetics, artificial teeth, and makeup effects to make him appear corpse-like, yet alive. McKay had to remain painfully still during the process. The result? One of the most haunting visuals in cinematic history. A living, breathing man literally rotting away and leaving viewers haunted for days afterward. 20. A Se7en Part 2? After Se7en's success, studios desperately wanted a sequel. One idea involved Somerset pursuing a new killer, while Mills languished in a psychiatric hospital. Another involved rebranding a supernatural thriller script called 8 as a sequel, in which Somerset develops psychic powers. Both Pitt and Freeman flat out refused, and these ideas never saw the light of day. Because let's be real, 8 sounds more like a bad parody, instead of a chilling thriller.
Yeah, you, in your $3,000 suit and that smug smile on your face, dealing for that piece of shit. I don't like
Mills.
And that's the chilling brilliance of Se7en, a mirror reflecting humanity's darkest corners. If peeling back these layers fascinated you, stay tuned for more revelations from the world of film, because some cases are far from closed. Hit subscribe and join us on the next crime scene.